Hey everybody, welcome on into Delmarva Sports Insider, the only live and local show dedicated to giving you all local sports. I'm Sports Director Brandon Bossert.
And I'm Devin J. Martin. Welcome to the show. We got a lot to get into tonight.
That's right. Thank you so much for tuning in this evening. It's been a long week for many of us. So many cancellations, including today, this week once again. But Friday is in fact here.
You said it, Brandon. So much action has been missed either due to the snowy weather or to COVID-19. And I just want to give a special shout out and congratulations to Brandon for his first week as sports director.
Thank you very much, Devin. It has been a very eventful and very non-eventful week all at the same time. But you know what? We did get to see some games this week, so let's get right into it. One player stood out for us above the rest, a freshman from one of the last unbeaten teams in Delaware. We're talking Davin Chandler from D-Town. We'll talk about that in a little bit, but first, let's start in the Bayside. As they welcomed in the Washington High Jaguars, we're talking about the Parkside Rams. Parkside working that lead in the early goings. Bryant Waters taking it in for the two there. Rams bullying the Jags, but here comes Washington, clawing their way back in it. There's Tyrese Golston taking it in for the and one.
The Rams would not let off the gas at all in this one. Isaac Roberts knocking down that jump shot. Roberts would go down to knock another, and that's a sweet spot right from the mid-range. Parkside would run away with this one with a final score of 80-47. What a blowout.
It's a nightmare, to be honest with you, but we're all fighting through it, and, you know, we just want to get our kids on the floor, and the kids are fighting and they want to play, and we as coaches want these kids to play and keep them moving and keep them doing stuff. So we're going to fight this COVID thing as long as we can fight it.
Meanwhile, the Wildcats hosting Sussex Academy. Takai Huggy with the steal and pass ahead to Devin Chandler. He would finish strong. More from the freshman. He would take over the first half of this game, blasting through traffic, laying it in for two. Sussex Academy trying to stay in this one. Carly Maurice with the drive and the nice finish. But Davin Chandler was on a mission. He gets the bucket and the foul on this possession. Beautiful finish here. And freshman finishing strong on that play. And to cap off the first half, who else but Chandler knocking down a tray ball as the buzzer sounds. The Wildcats would take that one, and they move to 4-0 on the young season, winning by 20 points.
Now over in Lake Forest hosting Early College in Felton for a Friday night showdown. Lake starting off strong. Darius Miller with the pass to Jackson Starkey, who buries the triple. He finished with 18. That's 18 first half points. Early College was fighting back with a triple of their own. That's going to be Jalen Arrington knocking down the shot. But you're going to see him later on. But look at that and one finish. That was beautiful.
Beautiful.
Now the Spartans keeping their foot on the gas. Amir Cooper with the steal and the pass to Starkey. And he takes it to the hoop. And look at that dunk. We have another Arrington side. He gets the steal and finishes with the slam. That was beautiful. Now Early College would heat up in the second half. But it would not be enough as the Spartans take this one in a final of 64-47.
I haven't heard a whole lot. We're just taking it day by day here. We got a back-to-back, so now our focus on Indian River. So we can control. Show up every day, play hard. So take it one game at a time. We'll see where things are. We've already had 3 or 4 games moved for weather, football playoffs, COVID cancellations. So we just want to play basketball right now.
Let's take a look at some of the other games that took place around the Bayside last night. Cambridge downing Colonel Richardson 55-48. Kervin Austinville had a great game. He dropped 24 for the Colonels in a losing effort. Pocomoke with a dominant effort against Mardella. Queen Anne's comes away with a 15-point win over Bayside North rival North Carolina. And Colin Wolford and KJ Smothers both scored over 20. And finally, Snow Hill beats Kent County 72-71. That's a really close game, the final in overtime.
Yeah, meanwhile, over in the Henlopen, one other game taking place this week, and that's the Smyrna Eagles with a solid 10-point win over Caesar Rodney. The Eagles riding a 25-3 second quarter to the win. Smyrna coming off an appearance in the state final last season. They are shaky, to say the least, to start this year. They're 2-2 so far, but a nice win against the Riders there. So we did still have some games this week. It was a struggle, but last night and tonight we saw some action finally. We had a long layoff for a lot of these teams, so it's kind of hard to get a firm grip on what we're looking at with a lot of our local squads so far this season, Devin. A couple of things we do know, though. Davin Chandler is for real up at Delmar, and he is going to be a problem for Henlopen teams for a while. And then Y-High, class of the Bayside once again this year. But I do want to give a shout out to Woodbridge and Seaford girls basketball. They were scheduled to play tonight at 5 o'clock, both teams undefeated so far this season. That was going to be a fun game to watch. We lost out on that tonight. I was really looking forward to those highlights, and of course, it was pushed back due to the winter weather that we saw overnight. We'll see them play at some point in the year. It'll be a good battle between those two teams to see who is supreme in the Henlopen South this year.
And you mentioned it earlier in terms of Y-High. So far, they've shown to be the class of the Southern Division of the Bayside Conference, and they've been off to a strong start this season, remaining undefeated so far. So as you say, it's a shame that we haven't been able to see more of the games, but hopefully as time goes on and the weather clears up and maybe hopefully COVID, that gets handled with in terms of games still being able to go on, we'll be able to catch some of those other games. And so, again, that's why they'll be playing Pocomoke, the Pocomoke Warriors tomorrow at noon in Pocomoke City. So that's a game we'll be going out to tomorrow. And how about the Parkside Rams? I mean, they won a game by over 30 points. What a rout.
Yeah, exactly. They did a really good job against the Washington Jaguars. So Parkside looked really good. No rust in their game against Washington. All right, let's move on now. The elephant in the room is the amount of games that we missed in the last 2 weeks. If you look at these sports schedules, there's an absolute sea of red right now.
But how are the recent postponements and cancellations affecting teams locally? Are there concerns for the season because of the new COVID wave? Now, we spoke with Delmar head coach Jeff Ernst for this week's Insider interview.
There was no struggle. We had teams reach out to us immediately once the Governor's Challenge was canceled. Some teams up north reached out. We've had some teams here on the lower Delaware that have reached out. But we are willing to reach out and try to pick up 2 games in order to complete a 22-game schedule.
Have you been talking to any coaches about, the amount of games that are going to have to be played in such a short, compact schedule for some of these teams and some of the concerns that you might have?
I have had some conversations, and Laurel had a very good football season, so that's kind of why their basketball season got pushed back initially. But it's sometimes having 3 games in a week isn't a bad thing. You get to use what you've practiced for these last 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks and really see it out there on the court. And then, like most athletes or with any athlete, you have to have a short memory. So whether you win or lose, you're able to turn around and have a game the next day or in 48 hours and be able to right the wrongs or continue to work on the things that you did well. The biggest struggle for us is the choppy practice days. We'll have 2 days on, and then with the snowstorm we had 3 off, and obviously we had a game last night, and then we were off today, so we'll get in the gym tomorrow and get some work done. But trying to keep these kids engaged on a daily basis, and we have to remember that they are student athletes, so making sure that their schoolwork's getting done. Not heard any discussions about postponement in the season. I think most schools are doing the best that they can to limit exposures within the school, and we all have to do our part to try to quell this and get these numbers back down. I'm a little surprised at this point that some schools aren't limited in capacity. With the numbers as high as they are in some places. I live in Wacomico County, and I think we have a 30% positivity rate. My wife is a nurse at Total Health, and it does surprise me a little bit that some of the schools have not limited how many spectators can be in the building. But if they feel that they can social distance as much as is recommended, then I don't see a problem with it.
A lot of good stuff there with Jeff. Now, despite everything we've seen, the Wildcats are 4-0 on the young season. That'll do it for the A block. We're taking a commercial break, but when we return, Brady Mancha, one of the best dual sport athletes on Delmarva, is preparing to join the best D3 lacrosse program in the nation. After the whistle is next.
This is Philip Townsend, head coach at Indian River High School. You are watching Delmarva Sports Insider.